Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder. Today we're digging into a company that just voted to give themselves a whole lot more shares. It's like finding out your allowance could triple overnight, but for a whole company. Can you imagine what they are going to do with all that money? Anyway, let's dive into the details and see what it all means. Before we get going, if getting clear insights from dense corporate documents is something you're into, make sure to subscribe. Also, our Discord community link is in the description below if you want to talk about it with other people. Today we are looking into an 8K filing. An 8K form is something companies file with the Securities and Exchange Commission in the United States to report major events that could be important to investors. In this case, Imunon, a company in the medical and biological fields, had their annual meeting and voted on some big changes, like increasing the number of shares they're allowed to offer, and considering a reverse stock split, which is like rearranging the same amount of pizza into fewer, bigger slices. One of the key things that happened at the annual meeting was voting to change the company's restated certificate of incorporation, which is like their operating manual. Specifically, they increased the number of shares of common stock they can issue from about 112 million to 350 million. That's a big jump. Think of it as going from a small lemonade stand to having enough lemonade to supply the whole town. The approval for this change was given July of last year, after it was filed with the Secretary of State of Delaware. This part is about some alterations to the rules of how the company is structured. As we just mentioned, on July of last year, the company officially made those increases to their stock options available. The details from what we went through is relevant here too because it provides the backstory and official record of the change. Here we get into a breakdown of everything that was voted on at their annual meeting last year. Let's run through the highlights. First up, they elected directors to the board. A director is basically someone who is in charge of the company. Mr. Michael H. Tardugno and Dr. Donald P. Braun were voted in as directors until the annual meeting in 2028. Next, they approved Withum Smith Plesser Brown to continue as their independent registered public accounting firm for the year ending December of last year. An accounting firm makes sure the company keeps its books well. There was also a vote on the compensation for the company's top executives. This is a say-on-pay vote where stockholders get to give their opinion on how much the big bosses are getting paid. It's non-binding, so the board doesn't have to listen, but it's a good way for investors to voice their thoughts on the matter. Moving on, the stockholders approved issuing shares related to warrants. This has to do with shares tied to a previous agreement from May of last year, ensuring the company can move forward with those plans. As we mentioned earlier, this is another vote on increasing the number of shares. The meeting also covered a potential reverse stock split. It is when a company decreases the number of its outstanding shares in the market. For example, a 1-for-5 split means that for every 5 shares you owned, you only have 1. The meeting also went through expanding the availability of shares for the 2018 stock incentive plan, basically giving them more shares to award to employees. The exhibits include some legal agreements. This amendment is the legal document recording the change to the amount of shares they can issue, officially dated July of last year when it was filed. Now let's step back and look at what this all means. Increasing the number of authorized shares could mean a few things. It gives the company more flexibility to raise money by issuing new stock. They might need it for research, to pay off debt, or to expand their projects. On the flip side, issuing more shares can dilute the value of existing shares. Basically, your piece of the pie gets a little smaller because there are more pieces now. The potential reverse stock split is something else to keep an eye on. Companies usually do this to increase their stock price, often to meet the requirements to stay listed on exchanges like Nasdaq. If their stock price is too low, they could get kicked off the exchange, which isn't a good look. However, a reverse split doesn't actually change the overall value of the company. It's more like exchanging $5 bills for one $5 bill. From what we can see here, Imunon could be gearing up for some big moves. The increased share authorization gives them financial flexibility, but they'll need to use it wisely to avoid upsetting investors. Alright, that's our breakdown of Imunon's latest 8K filing. How do you see these changes playing out for the company? Are they setting the stage for growth, or are there some red flags to watch out for? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If getting straight insights from corporate filings is your kind of thing, hit that like button and subscribe for more. Don't forget our Discord server, linked in the description, where you can chat with other investors. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.